Across the modern battlefield, few names carry the weight and reputation of two elite forces, the United States Navy SEALs and the British Special Air Service, known as the SAS. They are the warriors called upon when the mission is impossible, when failure is not an option, and when the world's most dangerous tasks must be executed with precision and silence. These two units, born from vastly different histories, share one defining trait: they are forged in adversity. The SEALs, molded by the unforgiving waters and relentless physical trials of naval warfare, embody versatility, strength, and adaptability. The SAS, honed through decades of clandestine operations, exemplify stealth, cunning, and psychological endurance. Both represent the pinnacle of their nation's military capabilities, and both stand as symbols of human endurance pushed to the brink. While their uniforms differ, their mission is the same: to operate where others cannot, to strike when others hesitate, and to complete what others call impossible. Yet behind their reputations lies a question that has fascinated military enthusiasts and professionals alike: who would prevail in the ultimate test? To answer that, one must look beyond the myth, beyond the headlines, beyond the Hollywood portrayals. We must examine the reality: the grueling selection processes, the merciless training regimens, and the unbreakable mental fortitude that defines these warriors. The SEALs are America's amphibious commandos, sea, air, and land, capable of infiltrating any environment. The SAS are Britain's silent ghosts, experts in reconnaissance, counterterrorism, and unconventional warfare. Both have changed the face of modern combat, setting standards of excellence that every special operations force aspires to. But who is truly superior? The question isn't just about firepower or fitness, it's about mindset, adaptability, and survival. In this documentary, we'll compare the roots, the training, and the missions that define them. We'll explore what separates a soldier from a special operator and a special operator from a legend. Two flags, two philosophies, two paths to perfection. This is not a rivalry built on competition, it's a comparison built on respect. Yet when the dust settles and the test begins, only one can come out on top. This is U.S. Navy SEAL versus British SAS, the ultimate test. To understand the power and precision of the U.S. Navy SEALs and the British SAS, we must go back to where it all began. Both units were born from necessity, forged in the fires of war, when conventional tactics were no longer enough. The story of the SAS begins in 1941, during the darkest days of World War II. Britain was under siege, its forces stretched thin across North Africa. Amid the chaos, a young officer named David Sterling conceived a radical idea: a small, elite unit trained to strike deep behind enemy lines, sabotage supply routes, and vanish before the enemy could react. It was unconventional warfare, born in the desert, relying on stealth, surprise, and daring. At first, military leaders dismissed the concept as reckless, but Sterling's men proved them wrong. The SAS conducted raids that crippled German logistics, destroyed aircraft, and disrupted operations on a massive scale. Their success would redefine modern warfare, establishing the blueprint for special operations forces across the world. The motto, "Who dares wins," became not just a phrase, but a philosophy, one that endures to this day. 2 decades later, across the Atlantic, another breed of warriors was emerging. The U.S. Navy SEALs were officially formed in 1962 under President John F. Kennedy's directive to expand America's unconventional warfare capabilities. But their roots ran deeper, back to the underwater demolition teams of World War II. These men cleared obstacles for amphibious landings, diving into hostile waters armed with nothing more than fins, explosives, and courage. The SEALs, short for Sea, Air, and Land Teams, evolved from those frogmen. They became America's maritime commandos, trained to operate in any environment. Their versatility and endurance would soon make them one of the most feared and respected special operations forces in the world. From the jungles of Vietnam to the deserts of Iraq and Afghanistan, SEALs adapted to every new battlefield. Both the SAS and SEALs were born from the same truth: war demands innovation. Traditional armies fight battles, special forces win wars in the shadows. These two elite units emerged not as extensions of their militaries, but as pioneers, redefining what it means to fight, survive, and succeed under impossible conditions. The foundations were set, but to wear the badge of either the SAS or the SEALs would require something extraordinary, a test of endurance, pain, and willpower that only a few could survive. Every elite soldier begins their journey in the same place, at the edge of human endurance. For the U.S. Navy SEALs and the British SAS, the selection process is not about finding the strong. It's about revealing who refuses to break. The path to becoming a SEAL starts with basic underwater demolition/SEAL training, better known as BUDS, one of the most brutal military courses in the world. It lasts 6 months, but most candidates don't make it past the first few weeks. Out of hundreds who begin, nearly 80% will quit. The physical standards are extreme: miles of ocean swims, endless runs on sand, push-ups and pull-ups by the hundreds. But physical exhaustion is just the beginning. The true test is mental. Recruits are pushed to the brink of collapse, day after day, until their minds scream louder than their muscles. At the center of BUDS lies the infamous Hell Week, 5.5 days of near-continuous training with less than 4 hours of sleep total. Candidates are kept cold, wet, and hungry as instructors drive them through surf torture, boat carries, and endless runs. It's designed to destroy comfort, strip away ego, and expose the truth: who can keep going when every instinct says stop. Across the Atlantic, the SAS selection course is equally unforgiving, a 6-month ordeal that begins in the rugged mountains of Wales. Candidates face the Fan Dance, a 24-kilometer endurance march over Pen y Fan Mountain, carrying heavy packs and rifles. It's not about speed, but stamina, a battle against fatigue, terrain, and time. There are no cheering instructors, no encouragement, only silence and the sound of your own heartbeat. Those who falter are quietly withdrawn. No ceremony, no explanation, just failure. The second phase tests navigation, survival, and resistance. Candidates must live off the land, evade capture, and endure brutal interrogation simulations. The final stage, known as resistance to interrogation, is a psychological trial that breaks many. It's not about fighting back, it's about enduring the unendurable. Both programs share one philosophy: you cannot train willpower, you can only reveal it. By the end, only a handful remain. They are not the strongest or the fastest. They are the ones who simply refuse to quit, the ones who stared down fear, exhaustion, and pain, and kept moving forward. For them, selection is not an achievement, it's a transformation. Once a candidate survives selection, they've proven they can endure pain. But pain alone doesn't make a warrior. The next phase, training, transforms endurance into mastery and raw determination into precision. For both the U.S. Navy SEALs and the British SAS, this is where the legends are built. For the Navy SEALs, training continues beyond BUDS. Graduates move to SEAL Qualification Training, or SQT, a 6-month crucible that turns survivors into operators. Here, recruits learn advanced weapons handling, demolitions, communications, and small unit tactics. Every movement must be executed with flawless efficiency, because hesitation in the field means death. SEALs master combat diving, parachuting, and close-quarters battle. They train in the air, on land, and beneath the ocean surface, environments that demand constant adaptability. From underwater demolition to urban warfare, their goal is singular: be capable of striking anywhere, anytime. Physical training never stops. Recruits run miles with gear, swim in open seas, and practice infiltration under extreme stress. But the deeper lesson is control, the ability to stay calm amid chaos. Every drill is designed to ingrain discipline so deep it becomes instinct. The SAS, meanwhile, trains with a focus on precision, stealth, and independence. After the grueling selection phase, successful candidates enter the continuation training, where they are molded into specialists. The SAS motto, "Who dares wins," guides every step. Operators learn advanced navigation, sabotage, and survival in some of the harshest environments on Earth, from arid deserts to frozen tundras. The SAS places immense emphasis on individual initiative. Each trooper is expected to think, plan, and execute missions independently, often deep behind enemy lines without support or communication. Weapons proficiency is pushed to perfection. Operators spend countless hours mastering multiple firearms, explosives, and foreign weapon systems. They train to operate silently, in small units, often outnumbered but never outmaneuvered. Both forces demand total versatility. The SEALs are amphibious warriors, experts at hitting targets from sea, air, or land. The SAS are ghost soldiers, invisible until it's too late. In training, both cultivate the same essence: control, precision, and composure under pressure. They are taught not to react to fear, but to use it, to adapt instantly, to trust in skill and instinct forged through pain. By the end of training, they are no longer just soldiers. They are instruments of strategy, discipline, and silent power, the embodiment of their nation's most elite ideals. Physical power can get you through the first mile. Endurance can carry you through the 10th. But when the mission stretches into days without sleep, when the body fails and the odds collapse, only mindset keeps you alive. For the U.S. Navy SEALs and the British SAS, mental resilience isn't a bonus, it's the foundation of survival. In both units, psychological toughness is built from the first day of training. Recruits are not only tested on what they can do, but how they think, how they react under extreme stress, and whether they can remain calm when chaos takes over. Every trial is designed to simulate failure, to force a decision under pressure. Do you freeze, panic, or adapt? For the SEALs, the phrase, "the only easy day was yesterday," isn't a slogan, it's a mindset. Every challenge is meant to exceed the last. SEAL instructors push recruits until exhaustion erases every trace of comfort and ego. What remains is a raw mental edge, a refusal to give up no matter the pain. They are taught to embrace discomfort, to see suffering as the path to mastery. Across the Atlantic, the SAS operates under a similar creed: who dares wins. But daring isn't recklessness, it's calculated courage. SAS troopers are trained to make calm, rational decisions under extreme pressure. In high-risk missions, they must think strategically while remaining invisible, often cut off from command. Independence and composure become weapons as powerful as their rifles. Both forces understand that fear cannot be eliminated, only managed. Operators learn to compartmentalize emotion, to act decisively even when adrenaline surges. It's not about being fearless, it's about performing despite fear. Psychological conditioning also builds unity. In both the SEALs and SAS, operators trust their teammates completely. That bond, forged through exhaustion and shared hardship, becomes the ultimate anchor in combat. You don't quit, not for yourself, but for the person beside you. This mental toughness doesn't end with training. It becomes a way of life, shaping how these men operate, lead, and endure. When missions fail, when communication breaks, when survival depends on instinct alone, it's the mind that wins the fight. For the SEALs and SAS, the difference between breaking and surviving is not found in muscle or might, but in the will to keep going, one heartbeat at a time. The difference between an ordinary soldier and an elite operator often comes down to more than just skill. It's precision, preparation, and the tools of the trade. For the U.S. Navy SEALs and the British SAS, equipment is not about luxury or technology. It's about survival, adaptability, and effectiveness in any environment. Every piece of gear carried by these warriors has a purpose. SEALs are specialists in maritime and amphibious warfare. Their equipment must perform flawlessly in the harshest conditions, underwater, in salt, sand, and mud. Lightweight weapons, corrosion-resistant metals, and waterproof electronics define their arsenal. A SEAL's loadout often includes the HK-416 rifle, the Sig Sauer P226, and a range of explosives for demolition and breaching. They move fast, strike hard, and disappear just as quickly. The British SAS, on the other hand, focus on stealth and precision. Their operations often require deep infiltration, sometimes without backup or resupply for days. They rely on gear that is rugged, modular, and silent. Common weapons include the C8 carbine, Glock 17, and specialized sniper rifles like the L115A3. SAS operators are trained to adapt to any weapon they encounter, including those used by enemy forces. But tools alone don't win battles. Tactics do. The SEALs are masters of coordinated assault. They specialize in small unit tactics, synchronized strikes, and multi-domain warfare, hitting from sea, air, and land simultaneously. Their missions often involve hostage rescue, reconnaissance, and direct action against high-value targets. Speed and aggression are their signatures. The SAS operate with a different rhythm, stealth over spectacle. Their tactics rely on infiltration, intelligence gathering, and surgical precision. They are ghosts, unseen until the objective is complete. Whether it's counter-terrorism in an urban environment or reconnaissance in hostile territory, the SAS favor minimal noise, minimal visibility, and maximum impact. Despite their differences, both forces share one unspoken rule: adapt or die. Environments change, technology evolves, and missions shift without warning. Operators must know their gear like an extension of their own bodies, how to fix, modify, and improvise under pressure. In the field, the weapon is only as effective as the mind that wields it. For both the SEALs and SAS, the ultimate tool isn't the rifle, the blade, or the gear. It's mastery. The kind of mastery that turns chaos into order and danger into opportunity. Training builds warriors. Combat defines them. The U.S. Navy SEALs and the British SAS are elite not because of myth or legend, but because of their record. Both have proven, time and again, that they can operate where others can't and succeed where failure means global consequences. For the Navy SEALs, their history is written across decades of covert warfare. From the jungles of Vietnam to the deserts of the Middle East, SEAL teams have executed missions that reshaped military history. The most famous, Operation Neptune Spear, the raid that killed Osama bin Laden in 2011. Carried out by SEAL Team 6, officially known as DevGru, it was a flawless demonstration of precision, coordination, and risk. In the dead of night, deep in hostile territory, SEALs stormed a compound, engaged targets, and exfiltrated before the world even knew what had happened. But that was just one mission among thousands. SEALs have conducted reconnaissance in Iraq, hostage rescues in Somalia, and counter-terrorism operations across the globe. Their work is often classified, their presence unacknowledged, yet their impact echoes through every major U.S. conflict since World War II. Across the Atlantic, the British SAS have their own shadowed legacy. Their operations are among the most secretive in modern warfare, but their reputation is legendary. From counterinsurgency in Northern Ireland to anti-terrorism in London, from desert raids in Iraq to hostage rescues in Africa, the SAS have been the tip of the spear for Britain's most sensitive missions. One of their most iconic moments came during the 1980 Iranian embassy siege in London. 6 terrorists had taken hostages inside the embassy. The SAS stormed the building in broad daylight, rescuing all but one hostage in a matter of minutes. The entire operation was broadcast live, a rare glimpse into the precision and discipline of the regiment. Since then, the SAS have remained at the forefront of counterterrorism, working in the shadows of Afghanistan, Iraq, and beyond. Both units share a quiet truth. Their greatest missions are the ones the world will never hear about. Their victories are measured not in medals or headlines, but in lives saved and threats neutralized. The battlefield may change, from the desert to the city, from the ocean to cyberspace, but the objective remains the same: precision, control, and absolute commitment to the mission. For the SEALs and the SAS, every operation is a test, and failure is never an option. In the world of elite warfare, gear can break, plans can fail, and communication can collapse. But one thing never wavers: trust. For the U.S. Navy SEALs and the British SAS, that bond between teammates is not just camaraderie, it's survival. From the first day of training, every challenge, every test is designed to destroy the individual ego and forge unity. You don't make it through BUDS or SAS selection alone. You make it as a team, or you don't make it at all. Among Navy SEALs, the brotherhood is sacred. They call it the Brotherhood of the Trident. The moment a SEAL earns that golden insignia, they join a lineage of warriors bound by loyalty, sacrifice, and shared suffering. In training, they've carried each other through freezing surf, mud runs, and sleepless nights. That shared pain builds something deeper than friendship. It's an unspoken code. You never leave a teammate behind. You never let them fall. In combat, that trust becomes absolute. SEALs operate in small units, where each man's life depends on the other's judgment. A single mistake can cost a mission or a life. But in those moments, when chaos erupts, the brotherhood holds. They don't look for orders, they move as one. The SAS are no different. Their motto, "Who dares wins," is built not just on courage, but on unity. SAS troopers are trained to function independently, but when the mission begins, teamwork is everything. Years of shared experience, joint hardship, and mutual respect create an almost telepathic coordination. Inside the regiment, there's no rank in the field. Officers and enlisted men share the same risks, the same meals, the same exhaustion. That equality builds deep respect and unbreakable bonds. Many SAS veterans say they trust their comrades more than anyone else they've ever known. This brotherhood extends beyond the battlefield. When operators leave the service, that connection endures. They attend each other's weddings, honor fallen brothers, and carry the memories of those lost in silence. For both the SEALs and the SAS, it's not medals or recognition that define them. It's the man beside them, the one who carried them through hell, and who they'd follow into it again. In war, machines and weapons can fail, but trust built in blood, sweat, and silence, never does. That's what turns soldiers into brothers, and brothers into legends. For the U.S. Navy SEALs and the British SAS, the battlefield does not end with retirement. The intensity, discipline, and trauma of elite warfare leave marks that last a lifetime. The price of being extraordinary is often invisible, felt in the mind, the body, and the soul. Both units demand more than physical endurance. They demand psychological resilience. Operators witness horrors most people cannot imagine. They make split-second decisions that can mean life or death for themselves, for their teammates, and for civilians. Years of exposure to extreme stress, danger, and loss often leave lasting impacts. PTSD, depression, and survivor's guilt are common among veterans of both the SEALs and the SAS. Physical scars are also unavoidable. Repeated injuries, chronic pain, and the wear and tear of high-intensity training can persist long after the uniform is hung up. Many operators continue to push their bodies, testing themselves in competitions, running ultra-marathons, or training others, a way to maintain control over the discipline that has defined their lives. Yet, there is another side to life after service: opportunity and purpose. Many former SEALs and SAS members take the skills they've honed into new fields: teaching, consulting, private security, or humanitarian operations. They become instructors, passing on their knowledge to the next generation of warriors. Some channel their drive into entrepreneurship or extreme sports, continuing the quest for mastery in civilian life. Brotherhood remains vital. Even after leaving active service, the bond forged in selection, training, and combat persists. Operators lean on one another, forming networks that provide support, understanding, and a shared sense of identity that the outside world rarely fully comprehends. The cost of being elite is not simply measured in battles won or medals earned. It is measured in relationships strained, sleep lost, and memories carried in silence. Yet for those who endure, the rewards are profound. The knowledge that they survived what few could, that they operated at the peak of human potential, and that they were trusted to perform when stakes were unimaginably high. For the SEALs and SAS, life after service is another test, not of physical endurance, but of adaptation, resilience, and purpose. The battlefield may have ended, but the lessons, scars, and pride of being among the world's elite never truly fade. After examining selection, training, mindset, missions, and endurance, the question remains: who would win in the ultimate test, a U.S. Navy SEAL or a British SAS operator? The truth is, there is no simple answer. Both forces are elite by design. Both push the limits of human physical and mental capacity. Both have histories of extraordinary achievement under impossible conditions. The SEALs excel in versatility, mastering operations from sea, air, and land, executing complex missions with precision and speed. The SAS thrive in stealth, independence, and ingenuity, often operating alone, behind enemy lines, in situations where failure is not an option. It is not strength versus skill, or speed versus endurance. It is philosophy versus philosophy. The SEAL thrives on aggression, coordination, and adaptability across environments. The SAS thrives on patience, strategic thinking, and silent efficiency. A direct confrontation would depend not only on physical capability, but on context, terrain, and mission objectives. Yet beyond comparison, there is respect, a profound acknowledgement of what each represents. Both units are products of their nation's histories, environments, and military doctrines. Both demand unwavering commitment, unbreakable discipline, and relentless perseverance. Both rely on teamwork, trust, and the ability to endure the unendurable. Perhaps the greatest lesson of this comparison is that true greatness in special operations cannot be measured by competition alone. It is measured in resilience, courage, and the willingness to face fear head-on. It is the ability to operate under pressure, to adapt instantly, and to succeed when the odds are stacked against you. By these measures, both SEALs and SAS are unmatched. In the end, the question isn't about victory. It's about respect. Respect for the training, the sacrifice, and the incredible skill required to be among the world's elite. Both the U.S. Navy SEALs and the British SAS set the standard for what it means to be a modern warrior. So, who would win the ultimate test? Perhaps it is not a question of one over the other, but of human potential pushed to its absolute limit. And in that arena, both emerge victorious. Elite forces are not defined by rivalry, but by mastery, endurance, and the unyielding will to survive. And that is what makes a Navy SEAL and an SAS operator legends.